I played 20 games from my backlog. These are my thoughts about them. A Game of Thrones board game. Entertaining, skipped this one, just as a decent ending skipped the Game of Thrones TV show. The writers could have made this game similar to the Game of Thrones show, as it felt, at least the ending, as it felt still bland and pointless. There's no excuse to have a board game be this boring. There are board games out there that are far more entertaining and tactical than this one. Video game or not, the game should be fun on its own, but it felt like a emo version of Risk with the skin of Game of Thrones. It was a big pass. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Though not one of the best, this depiction of Assassin's Creed includes some great gameplay changes, multiple stealth gadgets, and one of my favorite new additions, the grappling hook. It was worth the game time, but because of its story, it fell short of delivering. I covered my thoughts more deeply on my love for this game in another video if you wish to check that out. Dishonored. If Expedition 33 hadn't arrived in fire and glory, this game would have been my favorite of 2025, at least so far, because I can't tell you how much I regret not playing it earlier. The story, the stealth, the game design, the music, the characters, and the game decision making left open for you is extraordinary. If Game Awards had been a thing back then, this game deserved more than a nomination. Truly magnificent. I also made a longer video if you wish to see it. Football Manager 2024. I love football. I used to play it from elementary to high school and some minor leagues from time to time. It was my favorite sport to watch and practice, so Football Manager at first glance seemed like a great try. However, I cannot tell you how wrong I was. Now, and before you judge me, if you are a fan of this game, I don't dislike it because it's bad. On the contrary, it is too complicated for my simple mind. I tried playing it, but it had so many components, mechanics, tabs, and to-do list that the to-do list had a master to-do list. This game is like the real deal full-time job of managing a football team. If that is what you love, the more power to you. But in my case, I just couldn't. Happy Wars. Some games in my backlog are old. Not Nintendo 64 old, but getting there. Because of that, many of them are live service or multiplayer games, and as you know, at some point most are closed down, and that is the case of Happy Wars. Closed down its servers a while ago, December 17, 2018, a game that I will never get the chance to play, which is kind of sad to think about. One day every online game that is currently live will shut down its doors, maybe except for Fortnite. That thing can be killed apparently. Why didn't I play it when I added it to my library? I guess it comes with the territory when you think about it. One day I'll play it, like with any other game on your backlog. Unfortunately for multiplayers, just like our lives, they are finite. So enjoy what you can when you can. Totally Accurate Battlegrounds is a different story. The game is still open, but the player base is so low. During my time trying it out, I wasn't even able to get a lobby going. Only 3 people joined during the time I waited, though I had a very fun parkour chase with one of the guys on the lobby. Sadly, I should have played this one when it had the hype it had when it initially released. Hard Corps Uprising was a reminder of good old times playing Metal Slug with my recess buddies after a day of class in elementary school. Just as mechanically fluent as I was back then, I was only able to play for 1 hour. Like I said, this brought back memories playing with my friends. Keyword, friends. I played it all by myself this time. It was agonizing, and for that reason, something tells me I would have enjoyed it a lot more, because no matter how many times you die, there's always your one most skillful friend that can finish the level or revive you. I tried to play it for a longer time, but the fan factor never showed up. I'm sorry. Iratus. On its core, Iratus Lore of the Dead is a turn-based strategy game in which you play as Iratus, an ancient and powerful necromancer who has been freed from his prison and seeks to conquer the world. When I think back on it, the game doesn't appeal to me. It isn't the game's fault. It was created for someone specific. Its dark fantasy will lure those that find the setting interesting. In my case, I was not about it. I care as much for it as teens care for the McDonald's job. It also didn't help that its mechanics are better played on higher difficulty settings, or at least that's the feeling I got after playing a couple of hours on lower difficulty. Though the game recommended me to play it on high difficulty settings, but as the rebel I am, I went my own way. Lawn Mowing Simulator. Even if I bleed green, white, and red with a mix of eagles sitting on a cactus, I couldn't represent on Lawn Mowing Simulator. Or maybe it is because I do not know how to drive. I don't know, but I couldn't trim the grass as it was supposed to be. Outside of that, I had high expectations for this one. I've played Power Wash Simulator and I was hoping to scratch that itch on my lizard brain once more. However, mowing wasn't as satisfying as I hoped for. In my honest opinion, this game could have been better if they hadn't made it so nice looking. Instead of this game should have been like some of those houses that mowing YouTubers clean up. Like the before, which are knee deep in unkept grass. The game should have looked like this and not like this on the after. So when you start the process, you can see the change and boosts that itch like Power Wash Simulator. Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. One could say Lego games are identical and only the skin changes, and you wouldn't be wrong. To be fair, Lego games have a formula, one that works and does the job of entertaining incredibly well. No matter the theme, you always like the journey, and this game was no different with Lego Batman. Good levels to play through, a balanced backtracking system to get every collectible, plenty of characters to swap with, although once you unlock Superman, there's no other choice other than maybe Batman, because Superman has everything. But will I call it my favorite Lego game? On my personal tier list, I will put it in a solid B. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. This game was a blast. It fulfills the fantasy of being Spider-Man. In combat and traversal mechanics, I could feel as if the spider bit me through the controller and gave my fingers the power of swinging. This is the sequel to Marvel Spider-Man, developed by the same studio. However, the little details that make Miles who he is are exceptional. The way he swings, talks, interacts, it reminds me of his depiction from the movies of the Spider-Verse. Now, my only complaint with this game falls in the story. I wish the stakes for Miles had been higher. The way events happen, secondary characters get greater opportunities to showcase character and growth than Miles himself. Miles kind of falls in place to, I'm the hero and I can do hero things, but nothing else. I have another video where I go into more detail about it if you want to check that out. Hopefully Miles' arc completes itself, or there's more to in the next game, or at least in a game that is just for the growth of his character. Model Builder Complete Edition is a simulation game in which you can cut out, assemble, paint, and customize a variety of models, including planes, tanks, ships, and figures. During my playtime, I built a ship, a plane, a truck, a gnome, and a dragon. I enjoyed playing it. It reminded me of a time when I tried to get into model building. I built the car. Here, have a picture. Though the front shield got all screwed up because kid fingers can do anything coordinated. Either way, some models in the game were more detailed than others and took longer to assemble, or some of them were pre-painted but required detailing of textures and even sticker placement. From the builds I made, my favorite one was the dragon. Not only did I have to paint all of it, I also had to give it texture and contrast. I think this game is very niche, and it's for those who enjoy building and creating this type of thing more. Narita Boy. I miss Daft Punk dearly with all my heart. Narita Boy only increased that pain even further. Its funky 80s vibe across the music and art style that has a combination of futuristic and old makes this game special. I can quite explain what happens, as its story is like a fever dream through the time of a man's life. That is the best way I can describe it. You go through a strange digital world freeing discs of memory as you fight against different types of monsters. Combat is fast-paced, which requires well-timed parries. I wouldn't call this game a Metroidvania, but it falls close to it, and it does ask you to have a little bit of skill doing those parries. It was a fun one. Nidhogg. Opening this game was more than just playing my backlog games. Like a Doctor Strange soul trip, I went a decade into my past, as memories from a time forgotten floated back once more. Nidhogg is a game I bought when I used to watch Achievement Hunter every day, you know, the one from Rooster Teeth, back in... it is 2013. A group of friends join every episode to challenge each other on gaming adventures. One of those episodes had Nidhogg, a 2D fighting game where its main objective is to outmaneuver your opponent and reach the Nidhogg, or the final screen. The game progresses as you move to the screen opposite to you. The fighting mechanics involve a mix of swordplay. It's fast-paced and requires precise timing and strategy. Achievement Hunter played it on one of their series verses, where one person challenges someone else to a 1v1. I remember thinking how much fun it would be to play with friends, so I bought it. I wanted the same feeling. I kinda encountered the same thing as I booted it up again. I had no one to play it with. Orcs Must Die 3 made me giggle like a little kid on Christmas morning. The sheer joy I had while making orcs bounce from one trap to another, make them walk a cavalry between tar, fire, and spike traps, only to get to the end of the hole and be thrown to the start all over again, or place death holes where every wall was covered by different kinds of traps, rendering that space as hell on earth. I might sound like a supervillain. Orcs were the heroes of their own story, and I was like the villain of the journey. Unfortunately for them, I was also victorious. Coming up with ideas to make the orcs suffer and receive more damage in the niche map was incredibly fun. The game kept you making modifications throughout the rounds, as it always had a new set of doors from which more enemies could walk out of. If this game could have a map editor, players could create their own environments and rounds of enemies. The game could become a perpetual content creation hub. But as a tower defense game, Orcs Must Die 3 it's good. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. My first introduction to this game was through its music. I went to an orchestra night playing video game soundtracks. On that night, as the music played, on the back, the theater had a huge screen in which they showed gameplay from the game the music belonged to. Ori and the Blind Forest gameplay looked mesmerizing, fast-paced, and with tons of environmental puzzles. Once I played it, I wasn't disappointed one bit. It is an awesome game. Your abilities are not only your way to survive against enemies, but are also to traverse across the insane and crazy level designs they made for this game. At the end of the game, you learn a lot of skills, and all of them are needed to get to the very end of the game. It also asks for good timings, and some sections are made so that a previous section propels you to the next one. It's a great experience all around. Rayman Legends. Though my first time playing Rayman Legends, the feeling of it was like an old friend coming back into my life after years of never hearing from each other. It took me back to a time where games like this were my only worry every afternoon after school. A platformer game in which you run, fly, jump, and do everything in your power to rescue the flying creatures of this world. Most levels are required to play more than one time, because it won't give you time to sit and look around. You have to make quick decisions on the go, and you only get one chance at grabbing every element of the level, and if you fail, you have to restart. A game like Crash Bandicoot, with a mix of Sonic. It was good. Stacklands. Imagine opening Pokemon card packs. But instead of getting a shiny Charizard, why am I saying Charizard, you acquire valuable resources like wood, stone, or even food. Stacklands is a game where you build society from nothing with the help of cards. The game has different packs of cards like scientific, development, crafting, technology, resources, buildings, etc. You can combine cards to obtain new things like stack oil in a berry and you get a berry bush, or stack 2 humans in a house and you get a baby. Stack cards to make new things, to make humans more powerful, or to fight monsters. This game is fun for a couple of hours, but it also feels like after a while you need more because it gets repetitive. There is DLC, and some players comment that they make the game last longer, but I don't have it in me to get that extra just for a few more hours. It could be just me though. Torchlight 2. Any game that allows me to have a badger as a pet is already on a tier A list for me. This is a game similar to the Diablo franchise. You go into dungeons and fight all the craziness inside till there's nothing left. And that sounds like therapy. However, with each dungeon completed, you gain new weapons and power. Torchlight 2 has a good gameplay loop. Each section is distinctive from one another in setting and monsters. And again, I had a badger as my companion, and he was as ruthless as you would expect a badger to be. So, 10 out of 10. Transformers War for Cybertron. You know, when I played this, the only thing I could think of was, we need a new Transformers game. A fun Transformers adventure. Especially after the recent movie Transformers 1. I will pay to get a game from that storyline. I think Transformers games haven't been a good quality. They could be better, because at least this one was a big disappointment. I have a longer video about if you wish to hear me rant about the state of Transformers. But that is all for this video. Those are the 20 first games I've played from my backlog. I still have another 80 to go, but for a starting point, it is great. What are your thoughts on these games? Have you played any of them, or did you play one that I wasn't able to? Let me know in the comment section. I'm the Honey Badger, and I love to talk about everything gaming from new to classic. If you like that video, remember to leave a like and share. It really helps. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. I have a backlog to get back to. Keep on gaming.